Friends, as we all see, the provisions relating to income tax, search and seizure, and GST, inspection, search and seizure, are often invoked by the authorities. In income tax, while the provisions relating to search, seizure or survey are quite elaborate and covered under section 132 and 133A of the Act, in GST, all the provisions relating to inspection, search and seizure are imbibed under section 67. 67.1 deals with inspection, 67.2 to 67.11 deals with search and seizure. Well, in all of these provisions, one important point is there, that all of these provisions have been built in or amended keeping in mind digital evidences. So, on your screen you can see there are around 15 to 16 items, which is also just a sample of what are the digital platforms which are being used. So let us understand one by one what is the relevance of these digital evidences and what should be kept in mind while handling the income tax and GST inspection, search, seizure or surveys as far as digital evidences are concerned. The CBDT has issued a 200-page manual which is available on the website of the CBDT, which might go through. It gives an elaborate presentation on these digital evidences. So friends, in the suo motu order dated 10th of July 2020 for extension of limitation period, the Honorable Apex Court has held that notices, summons, exchange of pleadings and documents can be done digitally and should be accepted. Now, what are these digital platforms? These could be email, fax, SMSs or WhatsApp. So now even the notices can be served through WhatsApp and SMSs, and then of course followed up by emails. However, one should keep in mind while dealing with the survey, search, seizure or inspection that in case the notices are delivered digitally, it has to be ensured that the notices are adequately served. The order in the case of Chhajja Textiles Limited versus Commissioner of Central Excise, the tribunal has held that a notice or a summon which is not adequately served would not be considered as a valid notice or summon. So, in the Evidence Act itself, read with the Information Technology Act, it is understood that the originator of the digital communication must ensure as to how he would expect the recipient to receive such digital communication, and if such digital communication is not received as per the expectation of the originator, then it would be deemed that such digital communication has not originated itself. So, it should be kept in mind that there should be an adequate service of notices or summons through WhatsApp or emails. For example, we all know in WhatsApp there is a tick mark system, single tick, double tick, blue ticks, and even in emails there are various ways by which one can understand, the originator can understand that the notice has been adequately, or the communication has been adequately served on the counterparty. If such evidence is lacking, then it may tantamount to inadequate service of notice. Well, is video conferencing a mechanism of a presence, or is it considered to be adequate presence? The apex court in the case of State of Maharashtra versus Dr. Praful B. Desai has held that video conferencing is also adequate constructive presence, right? However, friends, one must also consider the apex court judgment in the case of Anwar PV versus PV Bashir, where the court has held that the source of the digital communication should be sacrosanct and authentic, so that there is no travesty of justice. So, although video conferencing can be taken as a constructive presence of the witness or the accused, however, the source and authenticity should be adequately ensured so as to use such video conferencing as an adequate digital evidence via the Indian Evidence Act. Next is whether the digitally made interviews or transcripts, or for that matter social media, are they adequate digital evidences? Again, while in the case of Jagjit Singh versus State of Haryana, the apex court has held that interviews would be adequate digital evidences, and in many cases we have seen that social media posts are considered to be adequate digital evidences. Yet again, applying this Anwar PV versus PK Bashir, the apex court judgment in this case, it must be ensured that the source and authenticity is adequately present, right? In this context, section 65B, it is a very important section. 65B of the Indian Evidence Act must be looked into. The section 65B, first of all, is exclusive and starts with a non-obstinate clause. Therefore, it was held in the case of Arjun Pandit Rao by the apex court very recently in the month of July 2020 that section 65B of the Indian Evidence Act is exclusive of any other section 61 to 65 of the Indian Evidence Act, and in case of digital evidence 65B must be ensured. So what does section 65B hold? It says that a digital record should also be deemed to be a document. Well, 65B2 is very important, right? Please note that in case a computer would be considered to be a digital platform and the evidence, that is the record or the printout from the computer, if that is to be considered as evidence, it must be ensured that the computer was used for the purpose of accounting over the period in which is relevant. In the instant case, the computer was used regularly and the computer was working properly in that period. Well, 65B3 states that in case various computers were used or various combination of computers were used during the said period of investigation, search, seizure or survey, then it must be ensured that all computers together be considered as a digital evidence, or the records or the printouts of all those computers which were regularly used, adequately used, and which were not bad in that period, they must all be used to accumulate the digital evidence. Well, 65B4 is the most important of all the provisions, I would say, which holds that a certificate should be taken for the purpose of identification of these digital devices or digital evidences from a responsible official position in relation to operation of the relevant digital device. So this certificate from the operator of the digital device is very, very important to again prove the source and authenticity of the digital evidence. So this 65B4 is very, very important, and the instant certificate is generally missed out during the operations which should be taken. Well, another question is whether passwords relating to these digital devices, it can be in the form of biometrics also for a mobile phone, could passwords or should passwords be disclosed to the inspecting or the investigating or the searching or the surveying authorities? Well, the answer is yes, because it is adequately mentioned in section 132 or 133A of the Income Tax Act or section 67 of the GST Act that the concerned person who is found to be in possession of these digital records should afford the authorized officer the necessary facility to inspect the books of accounts and records, and in case a hindrance is caused for affording this necessary facility in the past form of not disclosing the password or the biometrics, well then IPC section 204 may be invoked. So yes, passwords are required to mandatorily be provided. Even in case of the data cloud, the password has to be mandatorily be provided to the inspecting or the investigating authorities. Well, digital or cyber forensic plays an important part in deciphering these digital evidences. Now, what is this cyber forensic or digital forensic? It is the identification of the device, which I said has to be done by 65B4, preservation of the device, and most important is analysis, documentation and presentation of the digital records from that device. So, the reporting or the data which is received from the device has to be adequately analyzed by the corresponding officers, and that is why while the CBDT manual is very, very clear that only the relevant records or digital records should be taken from the premises, yet many a times the investigating authorities, they resort to taking the entire digital records or the entire devices with them for the purpose of data forensic. So, analysis of the records, that is very, very important as a part of the cyber or digital forensics. So friends, to sum up, now while we are going digital, even the Apex Court, while it various rulings has held that digitally served notices, summons and digitally served records are adequate service. However, the tribunals have held that the notice or record should be adequately served, and hence the originator has to ensure that it brings out guidelines for service of such notices or documents. Section 65B of the Indian Evidence Act should be ensured, and the computers from which digital evidence is taken should be adequately identified by the certificate under section 65B(4), and the digital devices or records only relevant should be taken, and passwords of course should be provided so as to afford the inspecting authorities adequate provisions to inspect and satisfy themselves. Thank you very much for hearing, and for our other videos please log on to this channel of ours, and there are other videos on income tax and GST. Please do subscribe and view all the videos if relevant. Thank you.